This question seems like a good opportunity to give you guys some backstory on my collection. So I've always been a collector. I know everybody says that, but for me, it's 100% true. This is one of my first collections. It's all Tamagotchis and Nanos, Gigapets from the mid to late 90s. I don't know why, but as a kid, I just wanted the same toy over and over and over and over. So I literally carried this around with me as a kid. Polly Pocket was also an early collection for me. These are all from when I was a little kid in the mid 90s. So I always had a proclivity for toys. So one of my first jobs was working as a toy buyer for a designer toy store. And that's where I got that Merc Crichton figure in the beginning of this clip. And once I got into college, I put myself through school by sourcing things from the thrift store and flipping them on eBay. So that was like back in the day when you could still do that in California. Like nowadays, I know people still do, but like back then it was literally like you could find anything at the thrift store. It was amazing. And of course I was finding a ton of vintage toys. So my collection just continued to grow, and eventually I came across this little guy. So this is my first Rushton. I literally came across her at an antique mall. Never seen anything like this before online or anything else, just like came across her naturally and instantly fell in love. And luckily for me, she had a tag on her still, so I was able to do a bunch of research, figure out what they were, and needless to say, I was totally hooked. Luckily back then it was still like relatively cheap to find some of these, so I think my next one was this Omar. So I've always just gravitated towards anything weird or that displays a real artistic intent or design focused point of view. So now in my work life, I work in the film industry doing production design and props, and my background is in costume and fashion design. And in my personal art practice, I work on textile design. And the primary focus of everything I do is artistic integrity. And for me, my collection is a deep reflection of my admiration for that. Like every single piece in my collection, I think, exemplifies a very conscious artistic intent. And I collect all kinds of different things. I collect vintage and antique housewares, furniture. I collect vintage science fiction and fantasy novels, clothing. I'm just really interested in surrounding myself with things that I love and are a deep reflection of who I am as a person. And if you followed me, you know that my collection is super diverse, even if we're talking strictly about toys. And even with the mass popularity of some of these toys at this point, I'm still finding new stuff. And I just love that so much about collecting. There's always something new. And all that being said, to get back to the original point, I, fucking love the Rushtons. They're absolutely incredible. They're all hand painted, hand sculpted. And talking from an artistic and design perspective, they exemplify what I value the most throughout my collection. Thank you for listening. I love you. Bye.